So today I'm working on a marketing plan. I've written a number of marketing plans for a number of my clients. This time I'm doing a marketing plan for a friend who's a lawyer, and I'll just go through some of the things I put into my marketing plan and why. The first thing I do is I write a set of objectives, what we're trying to achieve from the marketing plan, and for each client that will be different. They will want to target different markets and they will want to achieve different things from their marketing. I also make it clear that I am a specialist in online marketing and not offline marketing, so that they don't expect too much from my marketing plan in categories where I don't have expertise. The next thing I do is something called SWOT analysis, which is looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats for that particular client. So for example, the strengths of my particular client today are that she is a woman, so her business is women-owned and woman-run, and that is a great strength when appealing to certain markets like women, for example. And she also speaks Spanish fluently, which is a great asset if you're appealing to the Spanish-speaking market. She has a lot of local knowledge and experience, and she's well known on Facebook too, so that's another strength. So then I look at the weaknesses and try and work out how we can turn those into strengths or how we can reduce the weaknesses. And then we look at opportunities. For example, strong profile in the local newspaper is one of her opportunities. And opportunities, for example, like mobile and Facebook advertising, where her competitors are not very strong yet, so she has the opportunity to get in there before they get in there on that kind of advertising. And then I look at threats and see how they could affect her marketing plan if they're not changed or if something's not done about it. And I look to try and turn the threats into opportunities. So that's the first kind of chapter of my marketing plan. Then in the second part of my marketing plan, I look at the competition. So the way I really work out who the competition is for my client is I really just do Google searches for the terms that I think their clients will be looking for on Google. So I look at those and I find out who the top competitors are, and I look at what they have that my client doesn't have, and how she can differentiate herself from those competitors, and that kind of thing. Then I look at how clients find her, or how they would find her if she was available on different websites. So for example, they might use a Google search, or they might look up at one of the lawyer directories, or they might look in Yelp, one of the local directory search options. They might even use things like Angie's List. They don't tend to have lawyers in them, but maybe Kudzu, which is like Angie's List but for Georgia only, and so on, and looking at the options there and why she should use one rather than the other, and what's the benefits and so on. Then I look at her reviews on any websites where they can review people like her. Look to see if she has a listing at all. Look to see if she has any reviews, whether they're positive or negative, and look at how that affects her rating in the search engines. And then I look at things like on Facebook, what presence she has on Facebook and where she needs to have presence on Facebook, what kind of groups, what kind of advertising, what kind of Facebook ads she should be using, whether she should be using Facebook ads as well as Google ads or just Facebook ads, and so on. Typically lately I've been recommending people not use Google ads anymore, they just use Facebook ads. I believe Facebook ads are the future of online advertising, really. Then I look at the mobile market and see whether the mobile market is one that will appeal to this client and whether it will benefit her from advertising to those mobile users, and what the problems are if you do advertise to that group. Then I look at the problems that her competitors are having that she might experience too, and also that she can take advantage of. And then I look at how her competitors are finding clients. So I look at how their websites are search engine optimized. Search engine optimization is a big area, but I'll briefly go over it. So search engine optimization is all about finding the keywords that people might be searching for when they're using search engines and so on to find services online, and then using those keywords to find better keywords that are easier to target, because often the competition is all going for the main keywords, and sometimes it's better to use different keywords. So depending on your requirements, it may be good to search engine optimize your website for certain keywords. For example, she's a lawyer in the personal injury market, so personal injury lawyer, they're 3 keywords that are really, really expensive for putting ads like Google ads and Facebook ads on. So it's better to just target her own website at those keywords, things like personal injury lawyer. And the way to do that is to put those words in her heading of her website, in her title, in any images that she has, put them in the name of the images, put them in the alt tag of the images, any links that she has from her site, put those words in the links and possibly in the URLs that she's linking to, in the content, in the articles on her website, especially on her blog. Try to use those terms over and over again. And the more you use those terms in your website, the higher you will rank on things like Google and Yahoo and so on. They take into account that, but they also take into account things like reviews on Yelp and reviews on the review websites of different types like Kudzu and Angie's List and so on. So that's really search engine optimization. Search engine optimization has 2 parts to it: online search engine optimization and offline. And the offline search engine optimization is all about linking into your website, so encouraging other people to link to your website, either Yelp or Angie's List or Kudzu.com, or even just other people in the local neighborhood, putting a link to your website from their website, and you can reciprocate by putting a link to their website on your website, and so on. I also look at the domain authority of other websites. If you have a website with a high domain authority, then a link from that page will count much higher than a link from another page, and that's because Google assesses each web page and decides which ones it thinks is more useful, and based on that domain authority count, which a lot of things are taken into account in that. But things like Yelp.com have got very high domain authority. Angie's List has pretty high domain authority too. Things like Yahoo.com would have high domain authority, for example. And then if you get as many links back as possible from all of those web pages, then your own web page will rank higher in the Google listings and so on. So the next thing I look at is which target user groups my client should aim at, and that may be, in her case, it may be females, it may be Spanish-speaking people, and so on. I look at which groups are going to be most beneficial to her business model and why, and then I look at what kind of message we need to get to those people and what kind of education those people need so that they know that she is the right person to call for law problems. And then based on that, I would recommend that the client write a number of articles on their own web page and blog and so on that's linked to their web page, and then to syndicate that content out to other articles websites, and there are so many of those, and I normally list a whole load of articles websites in my marketing plan so that the client knows where to put that content. Then I do some information about social networking and social presence. So it's a good idea to have a Facebook page and have a Twitter ID, and I normally suggest that anything you put on your blog should automatically go out to your Facebook page, and that should automatically go out to your Twitter page. And that way, without having to do very much, you can just type the content in one place, and it automatically can go through to your Facebook and to your Twitter. I use twitterfeed.com for that kind of thing. Different people use different services, but they're pretty much the same. And then I look at other advertising that I think might be useful to my client, but some of that is online and some of that is offline, and it's up to them whether they take that into account, you know, in my recommendations into account. So that's really the basis of my marketing plan. Then I normally just list out the things I suggest they should do, and I put a price against each one. And most people really love my marketing plans and find them very useful. So I hope that helps you understand what goes into a marketing plan. And then the next session will be on the other things I'm doing today.